thank you for tuning in. We are on the banks at Sten Farm, mate.
We are doing something a bit different today. The reason I'm looking so short is because I am actually sat on my seat box today.
And the reason I'm looking so big is because I'm wearing this extremely thick jacket, Mark. It is pretty cold.
It's been a really cold day, on the back of some really cold weather as well.
Yeah, no, we've been out a few times. I don't think we've actually done a vlog for a few months now. But yeah, conditions have been pretty tough to say the least, mate.
Yeah, we seem to pick every day that it's either rain and wind or the lakes were frozen.
I was going to say there was at least a week there with most lakes frozen, which sort of forced us onto the river.
Didn't
get any barbel, but we had some chub.
We did, but again the weather was just so horrendous all day that we couldn't really get the cameras out, so this has been our first chance.
Yeah.
And I think everyone's got a venue like this as well. It's one of those venues that you come to when things maybe haven't been going your way and you want to remember what it's like to have a bend in the rod.
Confidence booster. This is it.
This is it.
But yeah, I mean, one of the main reasons we're coming out was obviously to get a few fish, but more importantly to get Josh catching a few fish on the method feeder, mate.
It was. So Josh works at Hinders Bait, doesn't fish that often. He's only been out a couple of times with you, Steve, before?
I think this is his third ever trip, mate, so he's just about getting into it, and he braved the elements today and he's been rewarded.
He has. He's done really well as well, considering that his casting's come on heaps today. Hadn't really cast on his own before.
Nope.
So he's done that today.
In the deep end.
Yeah, it's been loading feeders and yeah, he's
learning the basics, mate.
Banked a load of fish as well.
Absolutely. I guess we've pretty much stuck to the method feeder all day. Like you said, it is one of those venues that pretty much will do bites all year, and obviously in the summer it is very, very prolific. But absolutely nothing complicated.
No.
Inline method feeders, 15 or 25s using?
Yeah, so Stone End, originally this was a farm. It's now got caravans here as well.
Yeah. 2
lakes on the complex, and they're literally farm ponds, really.
Yeah.
Very shallow.
We're fishing the smaller one today, so I mean the average is probably only sort of 2 to 4 pound.
Yeah.
We've had a few bigger ones and obviously a couple of smaller ones. The other lake's got a couple of island, and we do go in up to sort of 20-ish pounds, I think, in that one.
Yeah.
With a better average of sort of 7 or 8 pounds. So we thought we'd come for some bites, as Josh is, like we said, very new to it. So yeah, we just wanted to get him some action, really. So yeah, like little method feeders, short little QM1 Guru rigs.
Yes.
And some light boosted barrels, really.
Yeah, and it's been that simple, really.
It's straightforward expander mix.
Yes, yeah. So we mixed all that up first thing this morning, put some extra liquids in it just to give it that intense, because with it being a farm pond as well, it's very coloured.
Yeah.
So smell, we think,
definitely
maximises that attraction.
A big part. So I mean, Tutti Frutti, one of the old school classics.
Yeah.
Very, very sort of potent, but yeah, has that sort of punch and pull power, mate. So it's been the go-to today. Bites between you, because you've both been fishing, both with the feeders. So
we've had well over 70 bites, and we've landed over 70 carp between the two of us as well. So it's definitely rebuilt the confidence.
Yeah.
But the bites have been sporadic though. We have had lulls for 20 minutes, half an hour, maybe a bit longer at times.
There has been a few, quiet periods, as you said, mate. I think that's just winter fishing in general. Yeah. Even on the easier sort of ponds, it does happen. You do find that you get your flurries. It's gone quiet we had about an hour where it was quiet on your side.
Yeah.
Josh had a few more on his side, but yeah, sort of seems to keep sort of swapping over. So you're sort of fishing up to features a lot of the time, aren't you?
So I was most of the day. This morning especially, I got off to a bit of a flyer, fishing tight up to an island and tight to the trees on the far side.
Yeah.
But definitely as the day's gone on, the fish seem to, whether they've moved into deeper water or we've just found more of them, they seem to be in the slightly deeper water down the middle actually, which is unusual for here, because normally tucking it right up to the island is the way to fish it. But
yeah. Well, like you said, we started Josh off in the open water simply because we wanted to keep him away from all the trees and the hazards, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, as the day's gone on, like you said, the open water's done a load of bites, and Josh has got closer and closer to the trees now, and he's obviously picked up a couple near the features as well. So
yeah,
sort of swings and roundabouts, but pretty consistent all day, mate.
Yeah, it's been good, really good. And like I say, it's just one of those venues that you can come along along, especially if you want to introduce your kids to fishing. It's a great place to start.
Well, we tend to sort of come down in the colder months on the basis that, you know, in the summer it is very, very easy. But I mean, even under the ice, you know, when it's been partially sort of iced over, we've still had hits of like 20, 30 carp. So, I mean, if you need a confidence booster, or you want to come out and you want to try some new sort of tactics, whether that's, you know, the pole, the float, the feeder, then, you know, without question, this is one of those venues that you have to put on that list, mate.
Yeah, and there's lots of, there's bream, skimmers, silvers in here as well, so it's not just carp. So it's a great place to bring your kids down with the whip, with some maggots, and you'll get into them. And you know, with the carp, especially in this one, this is House Lake, close for obvious reasons. It's closest to the house.
Yeah.
The carp aren't huge in here, so you know, if you did hit into a few of them as well, you've got a good chance of landing them. So it's a great little place to come.
100%. It's cold, but we're winter carping to some extent, mate. And yeah, Josh has had over 30 odd fish on his own, and for the last sort of 10 fish or so, he's done everything himself, mate. So I haven't even had to get out of the chair. Yeah,
so he's gone from, you know, Steve helping him cast out this morning, load the feeders, to loading them himself, casting them. And even he said to us a little while ago as well that by doing that, it just feels far more exciting when you do catch a fish, because you've done it yourself.
Achieved a lot more as well, because he's done, you know, every element himself. So yeah, well done to Josh, I suppose.
Yeah, and reward for all his hard work making all the bait in the bait factory as well. He can actually come out and test and use some of it now as well.
Absolutely, there's no excuses. I'm sure him and his mate will be back down at some point, but I would strongly recommend giving it a go if you're struggling, or if, like Mark said, you're looking to get someone new into fishing.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Tight lines.